Hey, let's talk about Twine for a second and how it might be used in the classroom around science standards and coding skills being learned. It's an online tool or a downloadable application, can be used either way to write interactive fiction. It is fairly popular, I guess, because it's easy to use, but also lends itself to more sophisticated programming. Um, just recently in the uh, Chronicle for Higher Education, the Prof Hacker article is talking about Twine and a new resource that's come online to help people learn how to program certain kinds of interactivity and look and feel into their interactive stories. The games themselves are published in a .html format, so they play in any browser, and so it will play in lots of equipment, and it's all free to use. Um, some sites are dedicated simply to Twine games, and the users uploading their games and they vote on them or even sell them. And as you can see here, there's a really wide variety of content. There is no limit to the content here, so it could really be used well for learning in school and science content and telling science stories. And in this case, we tried to align to a standard that's being used now, and this is a life science standard, and the standard requires the student to be able to design a scenario to demonstrate the effect of a change on an ecosystem. And so our challenge here is to use Twine to learn about that standard. And so the request to the student is to write an interactive story about an ecosystem. It's a very open-ended question, and answering a question that's so open-ended itself is challenging. And in this case, I made a story, and here it is. Here is Twine. The software has been downloaded. You go to twinery.org and download Twine. Um, there's something to say about which version to use and everything, but I'm going to leave that to a subsequent tutorial video. It's pretty easy, but there's some details, but I don't want to slow down and get bogged down in that. So once you've downloaded Twine, you can write stories. Here's a scenario number 1 story, and when we double click on it, we see the parts of it. They're cards, and each card is a scene in the story. And for instance, the player name card is got some code on it. The text box is going to pop up on the screen and ask for this variable to be given a value. And that's a programming concept. Let's look and see how that looks. So this game is stored just as a HTML file. So .html file, nothing special about that file. Double click it, it plays in any browser. And these you can text boxes, so I can type names, and interactive features like hyperlinks are programmed here. I had to learn about the ecosystem well enough to understand what producers, consumers, and decomposers are. This lets me know this kind of story approach might really work well for science concepts and systems concepts that would be very difficult to program, like in a C language or almost anything, but maybe to tell a story, program a story would give a lot more flexibility for the teacher. So just recognizing of these 3 choices, which are the producers, the ones on top are, and they're told that's right. Had they clicked the wrong answers, there was interactivity program that would have said no, try again, and so on. And so they're exploring the Great Barrier Reef, and here they've gone and found a detailed picture of a certain kind of plant that is a producer at the Great Barrier Reef, and exploring the reef, collecting kelp, and so on. And so that's just an example of a quick little interactive game, but it did take a lot of thinking about the ecosystem just to make such a simple game. And Twine itself is allows for coding practice and coding ideas. These brackets are indicators that there's a link, and here's the text that goes in the link, and to the right of the pipe here is the actual card that it goes to. You can work with conditional logic and variables and all kinds of things like that. So Twine is just another tool that can be used in the classroom at the intersection of any subject matter and introduction into coding ideas and conditional logic ideas. Okay, hope that helps. Thanks.